Hey everyone, welcome back to Small Batch Devs. My name is Austin.
And I'm Elliot. Today we are taking a more in-depth look at the RxJs operator Pluck.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you get more of our awesome content. Without any further ado, let's jump into it. So we want to start off by saying that if you're new to RxJS, then you can check out our video up here, and it will be an intro to RxJS.
So getting into the Pluck operator, it's really useful when you have objects being emitted through your observables.
Using the Pluck operator will allow you to turn the observable that contains an object into a single property observable by specifying which property inside of the object you want to pluck, and then you'll have an observable that will just have that specific property being returned.
All right, so now we're going to jump into the code to look at different ways of using this Pluck operator. You can see at the top we've got some imports, and we're using the streamlined, better way of importing from RxJS, where it's just importing the operator that we need. And next we've got a source observable that's created from an array with objects of different properties. And we're going to use this source for our different examples.
So in our first example here, we are plucking the name. And what this is going to do is in our source data that we just created up above, it's going to pluck the name from each object, that has the name property in it. So if we run this code using tsnode, you'll see that we get our Buffalo Trace, Lagavulin, and our Colorado Mountain Bourbon Whiskey, which was the names of those three whiskeys in the source object.
Nice. All right, on to example number 2. And you can see here we are plucking the distillery property, which is actually a nested object from our overall objects in the array. And so you can see our console log is just going to console that whole object. And this is just to show that you can actually pluck a whole object as opposed to just a single property.
Another useful bit of information about pluck is that you can actually pluck nested properties.
If the pluck operator can't find the property that you are trying to pluck, it will just return undefined. So make sure you handle those edge cases.
In our third example here, that you can see that we have two strings in our pluck operator, the first being distillery, and the second being location. And what this is going to try to do is go into that distillery object that's in our sources observable, our array of different objects. And it will go and get into the distillery and try to find a location property. That if that property exists, it will return that in our observable. And let's say location also itself was an object and it had properties inside of an object. Then if we had another string after location, it would go into location and try to find a property in there. Location is just a string, so it should be okay. And if we run this code, you can see that we get two strings back, Kentucky, United States, and Isla, Scotland. And then the third object that we had in our sources observable did not have a location, so we get undefined back.
For our final example, we're just showing you a different way of writing example number 3, which is just accessing nested properties in your objects. And so you can see here, we're going to pluck the nested distillery object, and then we're going to pluck the name property off of each distillery object. This can come in handy if you need to add additional RxJS properties in between each pluck. So as you can see, we did run the code and we got the names of each distillery from each distillery object, and it worked great. So today we quickly covered the RxJS property Pluck, and we showed you several different coding examples and demoed each one to see how they worked.
Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notification button, and also check us out on social media at Small Batch Devs. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
So if we run the code I already ran the code.